And welcome back. This is Hope Roski with business, events, arts, and more cool stuff. Well, I have someone here, business wise, as a 16-year-old who is, to me, an exceptional entrepreneur. This is Nathan Hutchinson. Welcome, Nathan.
Welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good to have you. And you're a student out at Madera Ranchos, correct? Or Liberty?
Yeah, Madera.
Madera Liberty out in the Ranchos area. And you're a part of FFA, correct?
Yes.
And that means Future Farmers of America.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that program, please?
Future Farmers of America is basically what it says. It helps the younger generation understand what farming is and the importance of farming, but not just that. It also adds to like what it's like to be a leader and like how you can help your generation in the future, either in agriculture or something not even related to agriculture, by just improving yourself and knowing how to become a better leader.
Well, that's fabulous. And I mean, just in your skills alone and how we've talked just beforehand, you have those leadership skills, because to be an entrepreneur, you have to be basically self-led. So how did you get into, and this is what's great, because, we're coming up to Easter and the cute little chicks. How did you get into raising the chickens and the various birds that you do?
Well, how I started doing all of that was a lady from one of the churches that we used to attend. She had a few chickens, and a couple weeks before that, I got some turtles from her. And she was like, "Well, you should also get some chickens too, because you like animals and having all of that." And so that's kind of where the idea started from like getting poultry. And so later on, we ended up getting some. And then from there, it kind of went from like 2 to 5 to 6, and it multiplied. And then it kind of went from, we have all these like eggs and stuff. Hey neighbor, do you want some eggs? And that's basically how it started.
Okay, so it just one thing morphed into another and morphed to another thanks to a neighbor. How did your folks, as you were starting to do this as a young boy, and now you've become a young man, how have your folks handled all of this?
I
Do you
feel
hear
like,
the laughter behind this?
I feel like they've handled it pretty well, and to the point that like my mom is probably one of my biggest supporters. She helps me all the time, especially when it comes down to advertising, because I don't really know how to do that, and she's already really good at it, and she just helps me a lot.
That's great. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, you have, all these chickens. How do people who are interested in maybe thinking about getting their own, how do they raise healthy chickens?
So that's actually a really good question, because right now with it being Easter, a lot of people are getting chicks or like ducks, and I feel the best way to go for the step one is knowing where you're getting your chicks from.
Okay.
Because there are some places that sell vaccinated chicks, but there's also a lot more places that don't. And you want to make sure that your chicks are vaccinated, especially here in the Central Valley, for Mercs, because it's one of the highest killing diseases here in the Central Valley. And then after that, you want to make sure that you have a proper place to have them. And
how big of an area would you need? So let's say, I get a couple of them, or then it goes to 3 or 4. So how much space does one need?
So, I mean, obviously it depends on how many chicks you get, but a medium to large size tote is usually what I tell people to start off with.
Okay, so a tote would be what, like in maybe square footage, like how many feet by how many feet?
I would probably say you would, for like 15 chicks to start off with, you would probably want like a 3x3 like area. And also depends on the size of your food and water container, because that also takes up some room too. So maybe some 3x4. Along with that, you also need heat lamps. for when they're younger. And so that's kind of like the size dimension that you're looking for.
And as they grow, then that would obviously expand because they need that room too. Because, you hear people talk about what you call free range and things to that effect. So there's some things that we talked about, just in your experience with the various kind of birds and with the numerous awards you have won. And I'd like to take a look at some of the pictures that you have brought with you because I think that says mountains. So let's take a look at what you have right here. Oh, okay. So if you're ready for Thanksgiving time, this is a part of your the Meat Birds for Thanksgiving program. Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of my meat turkeys from a couple of years ago that I processed like the end of October to get it out to my customers before Thanksgiving, and that this is also one of my biggest achievements throughout the year that I strive for, just because around this time we're getting the turkeys for Thanksgiving, and I have to I have to make sure that every month they're hitting the steps that I need them to be at, and the weight and size, and making sure that they're healthy all throughout that time.
One of the questions I want to ask you right now, if we can come back live for just a minute, is how do you balance this with school? Because as a former teacher, I want to know, how do you make it all happen?
Well, how I manage it all is during the time that I'm at school, that is school time. So I just gotta make sure that I maximize my time efficiency and not goof around in class, and make sure I have all my work done. So then once I'm out of class, I can go over to work, or during fall time, football, and then work after that.
Oh my goodness. And you also play football. Yeah. So, oh my goodness. So do you get up at 5 a.m., 4:30? I mean, or it just seems like an excessively long day.
I sometimes I do get up that early, but usually it's around 5:30 to 6.
Okay.
So then I can be up and out the door and heading to the farm.
All right, so Mr. Achiever, let's see what else you've won over here.
So that was at the Lodi show, and I got was a champion for my Black Carpet Morans, and then was a champion for also my White Plymouth Rocks, and then a ton of first and second place ribbons.
Wow. Okay, tell us about this picture here.
Oh, so this was from State Fair last year, and this was my first time ever doing it, and I got grand champion for my
Congratulations.
Thank you, for my meat birds, and I got the Golden Bear Award, and that's the highest achieving award that you can get in the state of California for meat.
Well, and this is so great. It's I do have a celebrity on here with me, I mean, first place in the entire state. Congratulations and kudos to you. Tell us a little bit more about these pictures here.
So, like I said before from the Lodi show, that was my White Plymouth Rock that I breed and hopefully in the future sell.
So then you mentioned a couple of different birds. How many varieties are we talking about?
I would say I'm showing around seven breeds. One variety of every single breed, and for show. But then when it comes down to my laying hens that lay eggs for me to sell, I have probably over 15 breeds with multiple varieties.
And a lot of people think, it's just one type of chick or chicken, and it's not. It's more than that. I mean, it's much more than that. I'm truly, like I said, retired school teacher, but you are truly educating me right now. So how much time does a person need to devote? I know what you do, but if somebody's just starting this process, how much time do they need to devote to start this, the process of raising chickens?
I mean, obviously, depends on how many birds you have. But I would say if someone had 4 or 5 laying hens that when they're younger, definitely put in a lot more time handling them so they get used to you. And then once they get older, you can wake up in the morning, give them food and water, or make sure that they have food and water. And then once you get back from work, check them again, make sure that they have food and water, and that's basically what you need.
So it's going to take, money to invest and to do this. But I'm thinking if you have the laying hens and they're, if they're laying eggs and things to that effect, is it cost effective now? Because we look at the price of eggs in the grocery store, at least I do, and I'm just like, oh my heavens, it's so much more. It's like tripled, since COVID specifically. So with the investment it costs to raise them, is it beneficial, or is it still just more of like a love for a project? What would you say?
I would most definitely say it's beneficial, because you're cutting, basically what you're doing is you're cutting out the part of the big company organizations collecting the eggs, washing them, taking care of them, grading them, packaging them, then shipping them around to storage facilities, which then distributes it out to stores. You're cutting all of that out, which that all adds money to the egg price. And then along with that takes time, which then also gives time for the eggs to break down. And so then by doing this and having your own chickens, one, you're definitely saving a couple dollars here and there, and also getting better and more nutrient dense eggs.
Well, and I think that's so good to know. One of the things that I've thought about is like it would be so much fun to take on a project like that. And again, I know it's work. And, people will go out at Easter time and they'll say, oh, well, maybe we'll bring some, little peeps back and not the marshmallow kind. So, folks, if you're thinking about this and you have questions, I think Nate is a great person to ask, questions. How would people be able to get in touch with you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at NatesChicks. And then along with that, you can even Google me. Just Google up NatesChicks, and it's going to pop up. And then I have my email and phone number attached to that.
Okay, and can you give us the email and the phone number where people could also reach out to you, please?
You can email me at nateschicks@gmail.com or call me at 559-481-1369.
Perfect. And now, let's say I don't feel like going to the grocery store and I want to just give you a call and say, okay, Nate, I'd like to pick up some eggs. Do you do anything like that? Do people come to you and actually purchase directly from you?
Yeah, so majority of our well, we used to go out and personally deliver eggs, and then our customer base grew so much that
I can imagine.
That
you got a champion here.
Yeah, so then now people message us and tell us, hey, I need 2-3 dozen, or sometimes 6 dozen, and we're like, oh, okay. When do you want to come and pick up? They tell us the time, and then we make sure that right before they show up, that we put the eggs out there in a cooler, and then they come pick up and then go.
That sounds great. Well, Nathan Hutchinson, I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come down here, because I know you just had school and now you probably have to get back and take care of those little peeps. But I really appreciate you taking time, and I'd love to have you back and talk to you some more. We will be right back with you. This is Hope Roski with Central Valley Talk.